Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of the MCR Mac and Me. My name is TJ. In this segment, someone that we don't really talk about a whole lot, and I know Mac has watched him a little bit, and I've watched him off and on. Jordan Peterson. Okay, and if you're familiar with Jordan Peterson, he was a professor out of Canada, and given the fact that he kind of pushed back against all the Canadian laws involving policing speech. Okay,
Right.
he dared to push back, and well, I think they've pulled some of his what do you call it?
Credential.
Credentials. Thank you. They've pulled some of his credentials, and but he's he's become liked by those of us on the right. Of course, Jordan Peterson is real quick to say he doesn't consider himself on the right. He feels as if the out of control left has pushed him to the right. You know.
Yeah.
So that's
I've read several of his books. They're very good. He's a very logical, common sense kind of guy, and he can say he's not on the right, but you know what? Uh, he waddles and he quacks and he sure looks like a duck to me. So call
yeah.
yourself whatever you like.
In any event, a couple days ago, he put out a video, and I didn't see it until just this morning. He put out a video, and I've watched it twice now, obviously on YouTube. And the title of the video is A Psychological Analysis of Trump's Personality by Jordan P. Peterson, episode 492. And he gives his take on Trump's personality. I'll tell you up front, more so now than and he admits this, more so now than he did 8 years ago. He's become quite the supporter of Trump. He says he doesn't know Trump personally, but he's had multiple conversations and interviews with those who seem to know him best. And he goes, these people don't have hardly a bad thing to say about him. He continues by saying that if Trump was as bad as those on the left say he is, and this is where he makes a comparison to his children and that of Biden's, we'll say, he goes, his children are, I want to get this right here, his family is remarkably stable and scandal-free, and he says, compared to Biden's family, and he mentions Hunter by name. And he goes, and we're supposed to believe that this is a man that has all sorts of major character flaws,
Right.
He references the saying that we've all heard, where there's smoke there's fire, and he kind of adopts it to his own phrase, making of this phrase. He goes, well, I see no smoke, and as far as I'm concerned, there is no fire. And
well, like so many things, like I said, he's a logical, common sense kind of guy. You can see that what they say about Trump just doesn't add up.
And that's exactly what he's saying. That, to put it in layman terms, that is exactly what he's saying. In his description of Trump's character and personality, he makes a play on the X-Men characters. Okay, and if you've watched the Marvel comics, you'll know who X-Men are. And what he does is he says, and of course he's speaking metaphorically here now, okay, we'll say, but he says Trump has surrounded himself with X-Men, and he goes down the list. He goes, Elon Musk. He goes, Elon Musk is a virtual Tony Stark genius billionaire, and then he goes, and Elon Musk really is an X-Man, given the fact that he bought Twitter and said it's turned it to X, So he
Right.
goes, Elon Musk is literally an X-Man, okay? And he mentions about all these things that Elon Musk has done, whether it be space, whether it be the electric car industry. He says, and this guy does it all at the same time too, And so Jordan Peterson thinks pretty highly of Elon Musk, and he finds it interesting that Trump would surround himself with, say, Elon Musk. He goes, if Trump was such a and he keeps going back to, if Trump was such a narcissist, why would he be, why would he have Elon Musk in his realm? His small circle of advisors, we'll say.
Well, did they ever mention the narcissism of Barack Obama? Nope.
Nope.
I mean,
nope.
Listen to that guy's speech after they killed bin Laden. I. He wasn't there. He didn't do anything other than approve the mission, which thankfully he did.
Yep. We're going to move on to the next person here, which I will confess I am less convinced of, but I'm going to go with Jordan Peterson's assessment. Okay. He references Robert F. Kennedy, RFK, and he goes, and he does say he's eccentric in his own special way, but he seems to think that RFK isn't that presumptuous. He also says that he's had 5 interviews with RFK, and with each interview, he feels like each interview is better than the previous one. Okay, and he asked RFK in the first interview, at what point has the left gone too far? Initially, RFK didn't have an answer, but eventually RFK did have an answer. Also, Jordan Peterson feels he has he feels he can relate to RFK in that the left has pretty much pushed you out of the way, pushed you to the right, and in listening to Jordan Peterson talk about RFK, and Jordan Peterson didn't say this, so I will go out on a limb and theorize here, but I have to suspect if Jordan Peterson didn't help nudge RFK into the Trump camp.
Well, I would tell you, I think they both have something in common, that being Jordan Peterson and RFK Jr., and that would be that neither of them buy the woke insanity nonsense.
Exactly. The next person on Jordan Peterson's list for the X-Men cadre is Tulsi Gabbard. And he says Tulsi Gabbard is everything Kamala Harris claims to be. And obviously he has a high opinion of Tulsi Gabbard. He goes, and then he said, if you wanted sane advice, she would be your pick. And he references the fact that she was military, and he just feels she has a lot to bring to Trump. Then he moves on to Vivek Ramaswamy, extremely smart and fast on his feet. And he goes, he does say that he says Vivek has some commonality with Trump's personality, but he's not quite as rude, I think he said, or something to that effect. Right. Okay. Vivek's a little bit more gentle with people, polished. Thank you. And then to wrap up his group of X-Men, and again, this is the term that Jordan Peterson chose to use, J.D. Vance. And he goes, J.D. Vance is the poster boy of a success story that the left always seems to advocate for. And yet the left hates him. Yep. The left hates him. He says, do you realize for someone to come out of the Appalachia area and go to Yale and graduate, he goes, you've got to be in like the 95th to 99th percentile to pull that off, Right.
It's typical of the left to hate on someone like that. I mean, look at all the successful black people like Dr. Ben Carson that they hate.
In any event, too bad he didn't mention Ben Carson. But in any event, as he wraps this up, he says, yes, each of these people he mentioned have their weaknesses because, as we know, no one's perfect. Okay. He says they each have their weaknesses, but he feels that the strength of the others would offset that individual's weakness, whatever it may be. And he cites this group as a testament to Trump's personality, thus referring to him as the Dr. Xavier of the X-Men group. He says, obviously I can't vote because I'm Canadian, but if he could vote, he would. He fully endorses Trump, more so now than he did 8 years ago. He makes that very plain.
Well, I would suggest if he really wants to vote that he should go to Virginia, where the federal judge just ruled that they have to put 160,000 people who aren't citizens on the voter rolls.
Yeah, really. And in closing, his video, and in closing here, he admonishes. He goes. You, the sovereign U.S. citizen, have a responsibility to support Donald Trump with your vote. And he goes, and basically, and then he mentions how so many people out there don't bother to vote, and shame on you. And
I heard it put really well. The man who doesn't read is no better off than the man who can't.
And basically admonishes. He goes. You are a sovereign citizen, and you need to vote. And then he says, and you need to support President Trump. And
awesome.
I would. It's a long video of Jordan Peterson. It's 57 minutes long, so I don't know who would be inclined to watch it. I watched it twice, and I even watched parts of it a third time too. Okay, but I'm a fan of Jordan Peterson. I don't watch all his videos, but if a video of his comes along that catches my eye, you better believe I'm going to stop what I'm doing and take note of it. So that's all I got. Take it for what it is. I'm just a guy that has a blue collar job in the Detroit metropolitan area. Making sure he's got enough money to get gas and groceries. Okay, that's who I am. Take it for what it is. And that's all I got. Any final thoughts? I know I did the bulk of the talking here, but
we're good.
I just really liked Jordan Peterson's video, and I hope others watch it. You know what? If y'all wanted a reason to vote for Trump, he just gave you all the reasons in the book. So, anyways, we'll call this one a wrap. Thanks everyone for your support. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.